All right. Good morning, folks. I want to talk a little bit about the Brian Kohlberger case. Now, a lot of people are saying that he was the DoorDash guy that delivered the food, right? He might have been the guy that would have gave him easy access, right? But we really don't know for sure. Was he a delivery guy, an Uber delivery guy, or whatever? Was he the Uber guy that supposedly picked up the two girls and took them home? Remember, from the food truck place, right? Remember, they had a ride home. They were at the food truck. They got macaroni and cheese or whatever it was, and they went home. I mean, that's another thing. Now, my thing is I did watch a video the other day or yesterday or whenever it was that said he put 16,000 miles on his vehicle in a month. That's a lot of miles, right? That is a lot of miles in 1 month. 16,000 miles. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's what they're saying. He put 16,000 miles on his car in 1 month. That's a lot of driving, right? Now, if he was a delivery driver, would he be able to put that many miles on his vehicle? I don't know. 16,000 in 1 month is a lot of miles on a car. You'd have to be driving everywhere, right? Now, is it possible that if he was a DoorDash delivery driver, that he was actually stalking his victims, right? As he did deliveries, he might have kept a log of this, we've got a woman here or whatever, by herself or whatever. Was he going to these places? And actually, as he was delivering the food, he was also scoping out the place. Right? That is possible. What gets me the most is 16,000 miles on a vehicle, right? And if he's only a delivery driver in that area as a DoorDash person or whatever, whew, that would be a lot of, I mean, he would, and plus he was in school, right? Supposedly taking classes and everything, uh, studying to be a forensic person or whatever. So, how did he have time to do all this, right? You got class during the day. He was an assistant for a professor or something like that. How did he have time to be a delivery guy, right? To do all this, it would have had to been done at night. That's the only opportunity he had, was nighttime. But 16,000 miles in a month, he had to have gone somewhere else. He had to have traveled farther out than just his area to get 16,000 miles, right? The whole thing with his dad flying out there, and they came through Indiana and all this and that. And why did he pick that route when the fastest route would have been come straight over and come around the Great Lakes here and right up into Pennsylvania? There was a reason he picked that route, and that's interesting. They should look at that, right? Because he had help. And being that, we know he's a killer, folks. He's killed before. You don't just wake up and kill four people and that be your first kill. It's too risky. Is it possible he did have help? Yes. Anything's possible. But here's the main thing. You don't do something like that your first kill. It's too risky, way too risky, too big of a chance, especially if you don't know who's inside, right? He would have had to scope it out. He would have had to know who was in the house at that time, where they were within that house. Heck, he could have been there, right? He could have been a guest in the house and something went bad and he ran or whatever, maybe, petrified or whatever. I don't know. It's possible, but I don't know. And I don't think they would go through great extent. If that was the case, he would have came out and said that to the police once he was picked up, right? He would have if it was not him, and maybe he seen something or knew something, he would have told them right away. They wouldn't have him uh, arrested and put in jail or whatever, right? It just wouldn't have happened. They would have they would have listened to him. He would have, my opinion, he would have came out and said, "Yeah, I was there, and something bad happened, and this is what happened, and I took off." But here's what the police will say: if it did come down to that, why didn't you call the authorities? Right? It always comes down to like that, and we've seen that in the Summer Wells case, in these other cases. Why didn't they call the authorities right away? Why was there such a big gap? Why did he not make a call to the police at all? Right? So we know it's not that, because he would have, being that he is supposedly going to school for crime and knows the laws and crime, he would have known, right, to come right out and tell people what the truth was or whatever, or he would have known to call the authorities if something bad happened. So I'm taking that theory off of the table, because really he would have screwed himself, right? Being that he knows all this stuff, if he was completely innocent, as soon as this went down afterwards, he would have been calling the police saying something bad happened. No, he could have called the police, but he didn't tell them what happened. He called the police to let them know there was something going on there, right? You remember in the beginning of this crime on Brian Kohlberger and the Idaho 4, what did they say? Somebody called in and said there was somebody on the property passed out in the street. They don't know if they were drunk or fainted or whatever, right? Was that him that called, right? And if he is such a sicko, which we probably think he is, could he have done the killings and then actually called and said, "Hey, there's something wrong," right? Could he have had a burner phone, a hot phone, right? There's numerous things that could have happened, but we really won't know until it goes to court. I would probably suggest, if he was who we think he is, I imagine he probably had numerous phones, a hot phone, a burner phone, whatever they want to call it. And I know he's killed before, because the MOs in the other cases in that area fit the same MO as the Idaho 4. So we're not going to know that, right? There's no way they would come out and say that he's a serial killer yet. Do I think he is? Yes. Do I think he killed uh, that woman out there and that guy and that lady? The lady survived, but the guy didn't. I think so. My opinion. That's just my opinion. He's killed before, folks. You don't just get up and kill 4 people. Your first kill. Too risky. Way too risky. The only way he could have done something like that, I, I don't know. My opinion, he's killed before. Uh, And I also have an opinion that and the government might know that, but they don't want to admit it, that he might have been on the radar way before the Idaho 4. And they were just watching him, right? And mysteriously, they lost track of him and he killed again. Right? Maybe. We really won't know because we don't have all the evidence. Right? But the 16,000 miles on his vehicle that month, I don't know if that's true. If it is, that's a lot of miles. That's a lot of miles. 16,000 miles in 1 month, right? Whew, that's a lot of miles for being just a delivery guy. Right? That's a lot of miles.
We are unavailable to take your call.
Hold on, folks.
Please.
All right. So they would have to check 16,000 miles. Now they're saying it's possible he was a DoorDash deliverer guy. Well, yeah, you can put on a lot of miles, but 16,000 miles in a month in that area. When did he have the time to do all this? Being that he was a study in college, a assistant to a professor, when did he have all the time to do this? All these deliveries would have had to been at night, right? He's at school all day, and at night he's out doing his deliveries and killing people or whatever. Up all night. Did the guy ever sleep? Right? Did the guy ever sleep? That would probably explain the drugs, right? The methamphetamines or cocaine or whatever, the powder that they found. You'd have to be, right? You look at his eyes, you can see they're as giant as dinner plates, right? That's speed, methamphetamine, uh, side effects of just, I don't know. My opinion is when did he have time to do all this 16,000 miles of driving? When he's in school and a professor assistant and, phew, good God. Yeah, I would say he had to be on something, right? Did the guy ever sleep? That's the question. But this will all come out in court. And a lot of people are going to make a lot of videos now on what they think, their theory, their assumptions. But the bottom line is we're not going to know nothing until it goes to court now. You're going to hear a lot of people leaking stuff, but we don't even know if that's true. Right? It's like the police always say, if we didn't release it, don't believe it. And sometimes they'll say, it could be a leak within our division, our police force, or a leak within the lawyers or whatever to put out. And it's, to me, it's just unreal. Do I think he might have had help? Man, it's possible if he was doing studies on it and asking people to contact him that were murderers, stone cold killers. Yes, it's very possible he had help. It's very possible his old father was in on it, maybe somewhere, or knew about it at least, right? Had a suspicion that something was up. Very well possible, and they need to check in. Why did he take that route? Why did he go way out of his way to get back to Pennsylvania when he could have took a shorter route to get back to Pennsylvania? He could have came right around the Great Lakes there instead of going all the way down into Indianapolis. right? Going way out of his way to get back home. There was a reason for that. And they need to check that, right? There was a reason he wanted to take that route when he could have chosen many other routes a lot faster to get back to Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, or whatever it was. And that plays a key thing in it, right? Now, there is talk of some people now are catching on, and they're starting to put other crimes in that area that match his MO or whatever to Brian Kohlberger. And we said that way back. No, me and a couple people on my channel that this wasn't his first kill, folks. You know, it just wasn't his first kill. In my opinion, and other people's opinion. I think he was flying underneath the radar. And that would make sense if he was a DoorDash deliverer. Now, I don't know if that's true. But could he have been the DoorDash deliverer that delivered the food? Yeah. Right? That would have gave him his opportunity to get inside the house. Right? Possibly. Or that would have gave him the opportunity to see who was in the house. Right? To see how many people were in the house. He would have had to know that the layout of the house. And he would have had to know exactly how many people were there. And he would have had to know these people. One of these girls he had to have known. No way around it. Or a guy that lived in that house. To know the things that he knew. To know the layout. Right? He had to have been scoping the house out. And like I said, they better check and see if there's any truth to this DoorDash theory that he was the DoorDash deliverer. Well, then that fits that as he was doing his delivery, he was scoping out people in homes to kill people possibly, or rape, right? He could have been a rapist too. We don't know. Could have been a peeping Tom. He could have been a lot of things, but 16,000 miles in 1 month. That's a lot of driving to be a DoorDash deliverer. I don't think you can put 16,000 miles in 1 month just driving around your little town as a delivery guy. That ain't, 16,000. He's traveling long distance, right? Hours away, maybe, a day away or whatever. Excuse me. So I don't know. Is it possible? It might be possible to put 16,000 miles on your car as a delivery guy in a small town or whatever, or a big town maybe, but I don't think so. Right? I don't know. And like I keep telling people, when did he have the time to do these deliveries? He would have had to get out of school and go right into delivery and deliver until 4:00 in the morning. And then what? Get up to go to school again? Right? You got to be at school the next day because you're assistant to a professor. Right? He would have had to been up. When did the guy sleep? And if he did sleep, it wasn't for too long, right? Then that's where lack of sleep causes psychosis, sleep psychosis. You get giant eyes and your brain is sleeping, but you're up, right? That would explain it too. Sometimes you get sleep apnea and you can't sleep, right? And then after days and days of sleeping, you look like a meth head. Your eyes are all giant. It's unreal. there's a lot of questions that need to be answered in that case. And we won't, the bottom line is we won't know until it really comes out into court of actually what happened. And I would be spending more time on focusing on the crimes around that area or around Pennsylvania, or the route that he took that fit that MO of, of, of knife killings. I know someone using a knife to kill. And we know he was into knives, right? He had knives. He bought knives and sold knives or whatever they're saying, you know. So yeah, and there's the main thing. I did see a video and they said, well, what if he was there when it happened and he got spooked and took off and he wasn't the killer? He, you know, it wasn't Brian Kohlberger. He might have been in the house with them, but he got spooked and got scared. And well, I can tell you exactly what the police are going to say. Why didn't you call the police? So he can't use that defense. It was someone else. And, you know, why didn't he call the police? Why did he take an hour or 2 hour drive after he left the Idaho 4 and the route he took, it was an hour and a half drive back to his house. Right? He swooped all the way down and came all the way back up to his house. From what his phone's pinging off towers showed, right? He went way out of his way to get back home. Why? Right? Why did he choose the route he chose to get back to Pennsylvania? Way out of his way. Maybe to dump evidence. Maybe to dump stuff he stole, you know, from these murder houses that were these people that he murdered, whether it be jewelry, whatever it may be, right? If he was some kind of a sick serial killer, then he would have items from his killings to remember his killings, to get off on it later, right? Look at what I did. I'm a college professor for criminality and all this, and you know, a real sicko. Let me refill my coffee real quick. Now, we also know Steve, his father, right? I think his name is. Now, here's the big kicker. There's also videos out there that Brian Kohlberger was a church person. Went door to door talking to people about church or whatever. Jehovah's Witness or whatever. That's another interesting thing. Hold on a minute, folks. All right. Now that's interesting too. The theory that he was a church, a Bible thumper. a Jehovah's Witness, whatever, going door to door to people and everything, and talking to people. Could he have been doing that and using that as a front and scoping out his victims? That's possible, right? Were these people sacrifices? If it's true what they were saying, that he was wrapped up into Bible and churches stuff or whatever, which I've seen a couple videos on that saying that he was into church and stuff like that. And, you know, when did he have the time to do all this stuff? The guy never slept, right? The guy must have never slept. It must be true what they're saying, that he was a meth head. Methamphetamines, speed, whatever it was, cocaine or heroin or meth or whatever. Did he do these things to feed his habit? That's possible. We'll have to see what they got in court, right? Here's the thing, they're trying to rush it through, and I'm like, don't. Stall it out as much as you can. Wait for us to get evidence, right? If they can stall it out. Don't let it go to court without us not doing a real good check. This guy could have been driving everywhere. He could have had people helping him. He could have been a drug dealer, killing people as they went, right? People that might have owed him money or whatever, right? We don't know. I would stall out the case as much as they could. Don't bring it to court right away, right? Let's take some time and find out what MOs match, what was missing from these people's houses. How many phones did Brian Kohlberger have, right? We're having a problem with these hot phones or burner phones, right? A lot of people have 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5 phones. They're burner phones. Phones that they can throw away real quick. Change the SIM card, be gone. Right? They get another phone, put the SIM card back in there. They're back in operation. So is that what we're dealing with? I don't know. We'll have to wait. We're going to have to wait and see what kind of evidence they got. My opinion, is he a serial killer? Yes. You don't, your first kill ain't a home with 6 people in it. You go in and kill 4 of them. Right? That's usually not your first kill, not unless you are so comfortable that you know you're going to get away with it. You would have to have help to get away with it. Right? You would have to have help to get away with that. You don't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to kill 4 people in this house. I don't know these people. I don't know the layout of the house. I don't know anything. And you just go in and you kill 4 people. Right? I mean, they usually don't have, and not unless you're whacked out on drugs. It usually don't happen. You don't just decide he's so innocent, the perfect Bible person, and right, he's a Bible thumper and all this, and he's such a great guy, he's a prophet, and you just wake up one day and kill 4 people in a home that you have no idea about or whatever. He had to have known them. He had to have known the layout. He had to have help or something. He had to have burner phones, hot phones or something, right? My opinion, yeah, he is a candidate for a serial killer, and possibly some kind of a biblical Bible cult, maybe. Who knows? A lot of things are coming out. We'll have to see. We'll have to find out. I would stall it out, though. Let us get some more intel and evidence, right? Good God, they're just going, oh, it ain't him, it ain't this, it ain't that. How do you know? It would take research. It would take time to see what the MOs are in these cases that have been unsolved for about a year now, 2 years in that area. So he's gotten away with other murders, possibly. What I think, my theory, my opinion. He got away with other murders, right? But he just, it's like anything, folks. It's a drug. It became a drug to him. And if he would have went ahead and not did the Idaho 4, if our conclusion or suspicions are right, that he was a serial killer, and they had no idea who it was, they didn't have evidence, whatever it may be, he would have got away with it all. But he made that last murder. It's a drug. It's a drug to him. Murder, power over people. He probably would have got away with it. But he decided to do that kill. And that caught him. And they caught him fast. A lot of people are like, well, a couple of weeks went by or a month. That's fast to kill it or finding someone like that. The only way that I can think that they found him that quick is maybe they were watching him. Maybe they did have evidence. But they just weren't sure, you know. I don't know. A lot of questions need to be asked. It'll be interesting to see in case. Now, a lot of people are saying they're going to tear that house down, that the owner wants to tear the house down out there. And, well, you know, they could use it if they wanted to bring the jurors there and show them exactly the procedure that Brian Kohlberger took once he got in the house. Who was killed first, how he made his exit. Now, if I was in the courts, I wouldn't let them touch the house because it would be like the OJ case, right? Where they took the jurors to the crime scene, right? This is what happened. They pretty much showed them right in front of their face, all the video, all the photos of the OJ Simpson case, all that stuff, right? Could they do something like that in the Kohlberger case? I would. I'll tell you what, if they're going to tear it down, you best get a team of forensic guys in there photographing everything, videotaping, showing, right? Showing this is the route that he took in the house. These are the first victim was this person, and they better document everything before they let anyone tear that house down, right? Make sure you get good forensic guys in there and videotape everything of what happened. Do I blame the owner for wanting to tear it down? The college, right? I don't know. Yeah, I would tear it down. Who's going to live there? No, 4 people were brutally murdered. Yeah, it does happen, folks, right? More than you folks would ever know. People being murdered in a home, and they get covered up or whatever, and the home gets sold, and then years down the road, people find out that there was a quadruple murder in the home. Right? People were slain and brutally hurt, you know. Yeah, it happens. But I agree with whoever owns the property, whether it be the college or the homeowner. Yeah, you probably want to tear it down and build something new, maybe, or I don't know. But we have seen homes that have sold where there's been murders. Well, look at the Chris Watts, right? That home just sold, right? 3 people were killed in that home, but the home sold. Someone bought the house, right? So people will live in homes that massive bad things have happened. Some people right underneath their noses, and they don't know about it. It's not like the realtor wants to come out and say, hey, you like the home? Oh, we love it. Okay, but there's one thing I got to tell you. You know, we had a quadruple murder slaughtered everywhere, right? blood everywhere. They're not going to tell you that, folks. That's like coming out and them telling you love the home. Oh, we love it. Well, that's good because this used to be a methamphetamine cookhouse and crack and everything in it. So there's a lot of research they need to be doing, and they're trying to get it to go to court way too fast, man. Take your time. Hey, he can sit in jail for a year before it goes to court. Give us some time to go ahead and start tracking these murders. You'd have to go through databases to find out if there was any murders that occurred while people were sleeping in their bed, right? At night, you'd have to see, was there anything taken from them properties or from them people. I can't figure out why he took such a long route around, right? If he wanted to get home so bad, wanted to get out of that area, you think he would have took the shortest route to get back to Pennsylvania to say, hey, I was in Pennsylvania. But he didn't. That route he took, he went all the way down south, the giant horseshoe almost, right? All the way down to Indianapolis and stuff. Came back through, and that's where they got him or whatever. So they pulled him over in a couple places, Indianapolis and up here, up north here. So why did he choose that route? I don't know. The only thing I could think of is evidence, getting rid of evidence along the way, possibly. How long did he spend in Pennsylvania when he took his breaks and went back home to Pennsylvania? Were there any murders in Pennsylvania, in that area where he lived with his parents or whatever? Were there any murders in that area that fit the MO? Right? I don't know. We'll see. They got a lot of checking to do. Did he have help? Were some of these sickos that he put an ad out on Riddick or whatever, that he wanted to study people that committed murder and was in jail or did time for murders, right? He wanted to talk to them and study them. Did these people help him possibly? Maybe, they told him, well, you really can't. You really don't know what it is like to kill somebody unless you do it, right? The power of looking them in the eye as they die. That some of these people might have talked him more into doing things like this, right? I don't know. We'll see. But my opinion, yeah, he's a serial killer. My opinion, yeah, he probably was a junkie or on meth or whatever. Possibly, yeah. My other opinion is, how did he do all this? How was he a professor, went to college during the day, and at night he was up all night out doing deliveries and killing people or whatever, right? When did the guy sleep? Probably never, which that itself caused sleep deprivation and psychosis. Hallucinating as he was awake. Not possible. All right, that's it for this Kohlberger thing. I don't think we know or have enough information yet. And hey, let him sit in jail for a while until the lawyers and the courts and the police get all the information, and that'll take a while to get all the data from the FBI and all the stuff, all the cases that people were killed in their sleep as they were in bed or at home or whatever, at night, late at night, with a knife, right? With a knife. And then they need to find out, did he have any weapons like pistols, right? Then you'd have to check ballistics and everything from them murders, which would take time. They're rushing the case, and he will get off. if they rush the case and all their ducks ain't in order or eggs ain't in order, yeah, he'll walk. Take your time, stall it out. Let's get the data we need. And here's the thing, if it was a setup, everybody's saying now it was a setup. Right? It was a setup. Well, I don't know, folks. Whoever set him up knew him pretty good. Whoever set him up had access to his apartment. So the only people that have access to that apartment is the people that have keys. And who else? Maintenance. If he was set up like some of these people are saying it was a setup, well, then they had to have access to his apartment. That is the only way to get evidence. His DNA at that place. His knife at that place. The sheave at that place. Somebody would have had to have access to his apartment to get the evidence to plant it. And there's only so many people that would have access to that apartment. Brian Kohlberger, if he had a roommate or maintenance, the people that own the apartment and the maintenance workers. So the police would have to go and check that out. Where's the disgruntled maintenance guy or whoever, right? A lot of work to be done. Right? They want to get this case in, and Brian Kohlberger wants this case to go real fast because he knows, right? If anything, he gets busted for the Idaho 4. He don't want everyone to figure out that he's a serial killer and there's a bunch of murders, right? So yeah, he wants to go through. He wants this case to go through fast because they don't have all the evidence yet. And what's the best way to do that? Push the case through. Tell them he's telling people he's ready for trial. I don't know. Stall it out. Let the government, FBI, and everybody get their data, and it takes time and everything. Ballistics and everything, if he did have a pistol. Knives, right? Right. All the knives he had, like the Rambo knives. Excuse me. And that's going to conclude this Brian Kohlberger case. And you can see all my crime theories and my opinions on the cases on my playlist of crime cases on YouTube. And it's just going way too fast, and there's a lot of work to be done before it even goes to court. My opinion. Right? Let him sit in jail for a year until they find out what's really going on. How many people has he really killed? Did he have help? No, you folks have a great day. Be safe. Love everybody. And there's a lot of unanswered questions. The whole Bible thumper thing. He was a Jehovah's Witness. The whole DoorDash thing. The whole, when did this guy sleep? Did he ever sleep? Right? Was he messed up on heroin or was it meth? I don't know. Heroin knocks you out pretty much, right? Unless you watch your dosage. Right? There's functional heroin addicts, but they got to get their mix right, or they can't. If the mix is too much, they'll pass out, fall asleep. Right? He must have been experimenting with his doses of heroin to stay up, and I don't know, to stay up like that. Heroin is not the drug. What is? Meth or cocaine. We'll have to see, right? The American people deserve answers. The families deserve answers. Now, you folks have a great day. Be safe. We got some bad storms up here up north and in America today and all over the USA. So be safe. And now that they got them, we're just going to have to wait and see what the police or the government releases on the case as they find out. They'll come out and tell us, we believe he's committed this murder, and we believe he's committed this murder, and we believe he's committed this murder, and we got the evidence of this and that. People can make assumptions and theories just like I do, but bottom line is we don't have the proof. The government does. The police, FBI, they're the ones that have the evidence. So we're just hanging like a string. We're at the bottom. We're just waiting to find out what they got. And we hope it ain't a cover-up. We hope it's not political or religion cover-up. We're hoping. I think we're just dealing with a psycho. That's what I think. We're a psychosis madman that was a killer. That's what I think. Somebody in this family was. Somebody's DNA is matching his, and that's got to either be a family member or him. There's no way around it. All right. You folks have a great day. Be safe. God bless. And don't let them rush it. Don't let them rush the case. Like I said, Kohlberger wants this case to go into trial right away because the less evidence they got, the lighter the sentence, right? We'll see. You folks have a great day. And once again, these are only my theories and suspicions, and that's about it. And we're all entitled to that and have the right to think that. I don't know if he's a mass killer or not, but he sure does seem like one to me, right? And to other people too. That wasn't his first kill, folks. The Idaho 4 was definitely not his first kill. And if that was his first kill, then he had to have help, or he had to have known people in that home to get inside that home and do what he did, right? Someone had to let him in. It ain't making sense to me. You folks have a good day.